Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen, wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Rabbi shrah li sadri, wa yassir li amri, wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani, yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone.
Wa
Walaikum
alaikum
assalam wa
assalam.
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What number of Ramadan is it today?
7.
And yes, it's 7, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Very soon the first 10 will be over, and that will be like 1/3 is over. So again, like we remind ourselves constantly, this is an opportunity. And right before, starting this session, we were talking about it, how Ramadan actually can be used as a weapon, right? So how Ramadan actually can be used as a weapon. If you see something that you are not liking, or if you see people interacting in ways that you're not liking, just remind them, hey, it's Ramadan, and magically they stop. That's the miracle of Ramadan, really. And subhanallah, the fact that Ramadan is a miracle, you see it even more in a more pronounced way is when during this month. I know we're going a little bit on tangent here, but it's fine. Ramadan is the month where everything that is halal, usually, all right, we make it haram upon ourselves. Why? In order to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So if we are able to give up that which is permissible in this month for 29 to 30 days, people, it's like, imagine it's food and drink that we're giving up, right? We're able to give it up for 29 to 30 days, then what about the impermissible outside of this month? During this month and outside of this month. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in essence, is actually trying to make us aware of our inner strengths, that we have these strengths, because food and drink, these are the essentials of human life. And if we can give up the essentials for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like if anyone even comes and tells you, hey, Iman, it's okay, just go to that corner and eat, no one will watch. Regardless of what your religiosity is, what the level of your Iman is, no one is going to do that, right? I have seen people who are like least connected to the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala outside of Ramadan, but during Ramadan, you see them rushing to the masajids. You see them rushing to stand in the front line to do tarawih. Of course, this year, it's not there, right? But, something magical happens. And that magic is actually the miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It cannot be expressed in words. And the tool and the weapon of this month is, I'm fasting, or you're fasting. That's all that you need to throw at people and at yourself in order to stop yourself from doing whatever you're doing. So that's the amazing bit of this month. MashaAllah, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to benefit from this month, to maximize every moment of this month to the best of our ability, because Allah believes in our potential to change. And that's why He brought us to another Ramadan. Keep that in mind. Okay, it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala believes in our potential to change, believes in our potential to become better individuals, that He has given this opportunity, this amazing chance at improving ourselves, opening our hearts, and becoming more conscious of Him. Okay, all right. So now continuing with our ayahs of Insaan, inshallah, we are going to be doing ayah number 7 today. And time will not allow, but I had planned to do ayah number 8 also, but it's okay. We're going to do ayah number 8. So the last ayah that we talked about was about the people of Jannah, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about how the people of Jannah, the bliss that they will be experiencing, and specifically mentions the kind of drink, the water fountain that will be found in Jannah, right? So after He talks about them in ayah number 7, He begins to talk about the characteristics that these people had, that these people had in order to qualify for their seat in Jannah. And what is the first one? What do you think is the first one? Could be the first one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will list from the characteristics of an individual in order to qualify into Jannah. Guess. What do you think it should be or must be?
Their belief.
Their belief. Okay, good. Asma, what do you think?
I'm not sure really, I guess how they're trying, like how hard they tried to implement their belief in their life.
Okay, so it's about belief. All right, what else? Anybody else?
I think
Character?
being a good person. Yeah, character, person.
Character.
Being a good person.
Character. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have mentioned salah over here, right? He starts off with mentioning what? People who fulfill oaths and their promises and their pledges. In ayah number 7, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وبسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يوفون بالنذر. They follow up on their pledges. They follow up on their promises, right? وَيَخَافُونَ يَوْمًا كَانَ شَرُّهُ مُسْتَطِيرًا. And they are fearful of the day in which it's evil. The evil of that day is going to be widespread. What day are we talking about?
Day of Judgment.
Exactly, Day of Judgment. So these people, they are connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or they are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way they fulfill their pledges. Now, if we're going to elaborate on people fulfilling their pledges, all right, someone who fulfills their promise, can you give me one word to describe them? When we talk about someone who keeps their word, right? Give me one word to describe them.
Trustworthy.
Trustworthy.
Trustworthy. You cannot even begin to imagine how important the quality of trustworthiness is. A person can come with all the salahs and extra. A person can come with all the fast and extra, can come with zakat and hajj and iman, meaning declaring shahada, right? Having iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all of that, the 5 pillars. But if he does not have the character to support his ibadah, okay, the physical ibadah that he performed for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, guess what? That salah, that fast, none of it is going to count. Everything is just, that person is actually described as a bankrupt person. That's how important character is. And this is the point that we want to reflect upon over here. While Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about al-abrar, he's not talking about the relationship that a person has with his creator. How do we have a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What's the means? What's the means by which we establish our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
The people around us, like our relationships with them.
That's one. And what's the other? What's the other by which we establish our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Salah.
Exactly. Salah, fast, all of that, right? Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't mention salah. He didn't mention fast. He didn't mention zakat. Why? Because that's between me and my slave. If my slave has some shortcomings there, if there are some deficiencies there, I'll forgive him. He repents with me and I will forgive him. But if there are deficiencies in our relationship with the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive us unless and until that creation has forgiven us. So that's a more dangerous territory, right? And that's an area both we need to be cognizant about. It's a balance, okay? I mean, we've seen people in our lives, each one of us, maybe we have even such people in our life, like, you know, they have the mark of sajda on their forehead, right? They have long beards, or women who are like outwardly, you look at them and you think of them and you actually admire them for their religiosity, right? They seem to be role models of iman, ihsan, and Islam, right? But the moment you interact with them, their speech, they are either angry with you all the time, or they're frustrated with you all the time, sometimes even making up excuses, sometimes not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So what is missing there? That character is missing, right? Our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is two-dimensional, okay? There's one that we fulfill by fulfilling our obligations towards Him. That is salah, siyam, and all of that. And then the other aspect of our ubudiyah is where we fulfill our relationship by fulfilling our responsibilities towards the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lists the first one is that they fulfill their promises, whether it is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their commitment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or their commitment to people. And why do they do that? يَخَافُونَ يَوْمًا شَرُّهُ كَانَ مُسْتَطِيرًا, right? They fear that accountability. They fear the standing on the day of judgment, right? Let me give you an example of what reliability means. All of you have done project work, right? Whether it's for your Richland classes or your Qalam classes, you have done project work, right? and group projects you have done. And you must have had that person in your group who they are assigned tasks, but unfortunately, they don't deliver on time. You know who I'm talking about? Like, you know, that person, right? I'm sure it's not you guys again. It's somebody else, right? You know, they don't fulfill, they don't complete their tasks on time. They don't deliver on time. Give me one word for them. What do you say? They are not?
They're not reliable.
They're not reliable. Okay? They're not reliable. How does it feel? Okay? How does it feel? How does it feel when you put your trust on someone? You're counting on this person to help you with the project, and then you find out that they have not delivered. Like they have not met the deadlines, or they have not done the research. How does it make you feel at that time?
You're kind of disappointed, and then you're also frustrated. Frustrated,
right? Disappointed, frustrated. So then we all made a pledge, we all made a promise with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where we declared him to be our Rabb, and we promised that we are going to live our lives according to his will. This is before mankind comes to earth, all right? And this ayah is there in Surah Araf, Alastu bi Rabbikum, am I not your Rabb? And the entire humanity made the promise with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and confirmed their pledge, yes you are. Okay, so that's the promise. When we talk about promises made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we refer to that one. Okay, and then we have the promises that we make amongst ourselves. Okay, like you said, when you come across people who are not reliable, right? How you feel is frustrated, and you feel like these people cannot be trusted anymore, right? So which means what? That you cannot be like that. You cannot be an unreliable person. When you say you're going to do something, you have to make sure that you follow through and you deliver. That is the characteristic that you want to embrace. And trust me, this characteristic in your personal life, in your work life, when you step outside into the real world, this will go a long way. When people know that this person I can rely on. Because when they say they're going to do something, they will do it. And if they cannot do it, then they will not commit to it. It's as simple as that. If you think you don't have the bandwidth, right? Just say, I cannot do it. But if you have given your word, then you have to make sure that you deliver. That is the characteristic of a trustworthy person. And that is the person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that it is from one of the characteristics of the people of Jannah. Okay? So we want to make sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the strength and the ability and the capacity within our hearts to remain steadfast. And when we give our word, right, we live up to it. Okay? Because see, word is very important in Islam. Our Islam begins with a word. What is that? The kalima. Okay? Our revelation began with a word. Iqra. The significance of a word cannot be underestimated. All right, kalima, it is the weightiest word in Islam, or in the life of a human being. Because why? That kalima makes the difference between a believer and a disbeliever, between eternal bliss and eternal punishment. That's how important a word is. Okay, so whenever you give your word, make sure you think through. Will you be able to measure up? Will you be able to live up to it? If you have promised that you're going to help someone with their assignment, do I have the bandwidth to do that? If you have promised someone that, okay, I'm going to connect you with her, make sure that you deliver that promise. Because otherwise you take away from your own reputation, from your own credibility. And people don't want to be around people who don't have that credibility. Eventually, people start moving away from you. Okay, religious or non-religious, it does not matter. Credibility is a big, big factor in establishing yourself as a person of merit in any community. Okay, so in this we end. Inshallah, I will see you tomorrow again with the next ayah, again talking about the second characteristic of the people of Jannah. So think about your words during the day. All right, think about how you how many times maybe you have given that hope to someone that you would help them, and maybe you fell short. And why did you fall short? Think about those moments. If you don't find those moments in your life, then that's great. But if you find those moments in your life, and it's all about self-assessment, go back and fix it. Maybe apologize to that person, even if it is like months before. because that's the characteristic of a believer. Okay, so subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, salamun ala al mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.